President Biden just spoke, and in my opinion, the reason he was gone for days was they were just getting him rested up and prepped to do this. I think it literally takes that long to get him ready to read the teleprompter and do that kind of stuff. About the debacle in Afghanistan, and it is a debacle. I listened to his comments, and then Pastor Luke gave a link, and why didn't that come up? Where is it? There it is. This is from Fox News. Afghans who clung to departing U.S. plane fall to their death in chaos that left 7 dead. And there's a picture of Afghans running next to a C-17 transport and grabbing hold of stuff and holding on to stuff. And it took off. And eventually they fell off and died. I mean, this is making Saigon look like it was handled well. This is it's a debacle. It's chaos. I hold the CRT promoting the U.S. military was involved in promoting same-sex transgender rights stuff in Afghanistan. And there's no Christian has any basis for saying anything other than just judgment. Just judgment. This has been handled. It's a complete disaster on Biden's part, but it's been a complete disaster since Bush. And I know we have wonderful service people who served well in Afghanistan and Iraq. God bless you. Doesn't change the reality that at the time, I remember, I'm old enough to remember, at the time, there were many people who reminded us, no one's ever conquered these people. Every great empire has tried, and you might be able to overwhelm them with your superior forces briefly, but you're never going to hold Afghanistan. It's just not possible, because these people do not love life. They love their power and their tradition. And so you can't control a people like that. You can't establish a democracy or freedom. And yeah, certainly there are a lot of Afghans who have been very thankful to have had freedoms and things like that. And most of them will die. The blood that will be flowing and is already flowing through the streets of Afghanistan at the hands of the Taliban obviously demonstrates that that form of Islam is purely satanic at its core. It is just as much a part of the culture of death as the abortionists are. It's a false religion, and it kills. Notice I did differentiate between different forms of Islam. I am well aware of the later developments in Sharia and the control of jihad. I know, I get all of that. Doesn't change the fact that the men who are enslaving every woman in the nation, destroying every school that would dare to educate women, girls, and slaughtering people left and right is a form of Islam. It is a fundamentalist form of Islam. And these men take the Quran as, well, let's be honest, they take the particular Salafi Wahhabi tradition that they think is identical with what Muhammad taught. And that's the basis upon which they're doing all these things. How bad can it be when you will try to hold on to the side of a C-17 and fall to your death rather than fall into the hands of the Taliban? How bad are they? They are demonically bad. Demonically bad. And it's not just regular Afghans. The Christians, they will be killing Christians right, left, and center. There will be many martyr souls under the altar as a result of all of this. And not only do we need to pray for them, but let's just be perfectly honest here. This is going to be the greatest encouragement to terrorism globally since 9/11. Since 9/11. And so I predict a global uptick, extensively so, in Islamic terrorism in Western countries, in Europe, in the United States, because they have been emboldened by the collapsing United States, morally, ethically, economically, militarily, socially. They've been emboldened by what they have seen. And in their twisted, demented world, this is a sign that Allah is blessing them. And so just get ready. And see that the thing that really concerns me is that when I say that, I am well aware of the fact that what that ends up meaning is an even greater hesitancy on the part of believers to reach out to the Muslim because, well, I can't tell by looking whether this is a Wahhabi or I know the difference between a Sunni and a Shia, right? And so my concern is the very thing that I spoke about yesterday when I preached to Christ Church in Moscow. There are 2 locations and 4 services, is my understanding, of the church. And they call it the Logos Field House at Logos School. And I will not say Logos without going, it's either Logos or Logos. It cannot be Logos. But anyway, it's basically the gym, a pretty large facility. I'm not sure how many people were there. It was packed out. Unfortunately, it was a very warm weekend, highs in the upper 90s. Well, actually, I think it only made middle 90s because of the smoke. At least that was the only advantage to all the smoke, was it didn't get quite as hot as they had expected it to. But it still got quite hot, and there was no air conditioning. And Doug Wilson preached the first service, the 8:30, and then I preached the 10:30 service. And my topic was from John 8, and it was my sermon. It is a message I have delivered more than once, though since I don't use notes, it's always a little bit different each time. From John 8 about reaching out with a clear and compelling message to our Muslim friends. And in fact, I Googled it before service started, and there was a mosque, or at least an Islamic center, though looking at the pictures, I'm sure there was a small mosque there near the University of Idaho that was within 1 mile, it was 0.8 of a mile from where we were. So there is a community there. It's not a large community. But my concern is the very thing that I warned about, that there's that in many a conversation, there's that brief moment where the door slides open and each one of us has to make the decision whether we're going to step through. And the more reasons and causes of hesitation, the more likely it is that we're going to find an excuse not to walk through that door and present the gospel to the Muslim people. And it is my belief, obviously, that we especially are the ones that need to be bringing that message to them because it's consistent. We're strongly and focusedly Trinitarian, and we're the ones that have a consistent message to deliver to them. And so I'm hoping that an uptick in jihadist activity and violence will not, as a result, lead to a diminishment of gospel proclamation. So we definitely pray for what's going on in the world. I certainly pray for the people who are being left behind, that we are abandoning. They tried to do what was right, and we cut and run. It's disgusting. It really, really is.